Yes.
right?
And I did put things in differently because I was trying to see if it would like accept one way of putting it in and not the other, so that I could figure out what it is I was doing wrong.
Right. Now, if you rub out all those guys, because they're not right, the answers that they have got here are, that doesn't make sense. I'm looking at their answers here. Well, let me go back to that first one, because that is the weird one that's confusing me. On the second 0, see how you have 5, 5, 7, and 8?
Mm-hmm.
There should be another 5 in there. So basically you missed a 5 somewhere. There you are.
Okay.
Yeah, so that was an easy fix. So just put a space and a 5. So we're good on that one.
Perfect.
Right?
Okay.
Now on the next one, you should have 0, 0, and 1.
A number one or on the first?
Yeah. Rub out the whole lot, and let's do 0, space, 0, a space, and 1. Right. So that should represent 100, 100, and 110. So go looking for that. Can you see 100, 100, and 110?
I see 100, 100, and then I have 115.
Do they have 115 but not 110?
And
okay.
Yeah, no 110.
So what they're doing here is they are only using the rounded off data to the nearest tens. So 112 would become 110, 104 would become 110, 116 would become 100 and whatever, and so on and so forth. I think that's what they're doing.
I feel like they should say that somewhere.
They should. You're right. If you move down to the next one, that's that fix now. Just make that 5, because that represents 150. You don't say the 50, you just say the 5.
Okay, and so for the 115, would we put a 2 in there instead of the 1? Because 15 technically would round that upwards.
Well, 15 can also round downwards. It's in the middle, and they've decided to round down for no particular reason I can think of.
Okay.
Now, the next group is going to be easier to fix. See the 0, 0, 0, 0, 3, 0. Just call them 0, 0, and 3. So that'll represent 200, 200, and 230.
Okay.
And the one underneath that, just call it 5, because that will represent 250. And the one underneath that's 0, you got it. The next one is none and none, which is good. And the last one is 5. So all we need to do now is fix the top one, which is the weirdest one of them all.
Okay.
Right? So according to the data I've got here, is I should have 0, which represents 0. Then another 0, which would represent the 4, because you round that down to 0. And then you go 3 ones. So that'll be things like 12 and,
10, 15,
and so on. Yeah. So 3 ones. And then a 2. And then a 3 for the 30, right? And then another 3. Either there's a 30 or a 31. Oh, there is a 30. So that one works.
Yeah, 3.
And then there's a 4. So somewhere in there, there's a 40 or a whatever thing. Yeah, 40, right? So with the exception of the ugly one, which is what, a 12, which turned into a 1, and I think a 15 turned into a 1, didn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Now we're cool, right?
And then the 4 turned into 0, which
is kind of ugly, right?
Yeah.
So let me just double check on that. 0, 0, 1, 1, 1, 2, 3, 3, 4, we're good. 3, 5, 7, 8, we're good. 3 zeros, 1, we're good. A 5, we're good. 2 zeros, a 3, 5, 0, 0, none, none, and 5. You are cooking. Hit the button and let's get those points.
Perfect. And then let's see here. And yeah, I still guessed this one just based off of what it would look like.
Well, you know, if you look at the data, you can imagine visually what it would look like. Okay, so